everybody. My name is Eugene. Welcome to Navel Gazing, the Valley Indy podcast. Going to go over the most read stories of 2022 this evening. But what I really want to do is try out StreamYard. I've been a Zoom user since the beginning of the pandemic. StreamYard has more bells and whistles for streaming, like this ridiculous background, my logo, all kinds of stuff. And if you comment either on YouTube or Facebook, I should see it pop up and add it to the stream. So just keep that in mind. If you're like supposed to be at work right now and you comment on Facebook, there's a chance I could bring it up into the stream where it'll be on the internet forever. So hopefully everyone can hear me. I can't really hear myself, which is a little, that's good and bad. I'm not muted or anything like that. That should be working. Let's test out some bad slugs. Ride the Dinosaur, which they gave me permission years ago to make the theme song of Navel Gazing, the Valley Indy podcast.
For hundreds of years we've brought you the news.
Thank you, Tara. There's always that first person, hero who moves forward from the faceless crowd, who drops her anonymity to help a fellow Durbonian. I don't know if that's a word, but speaking of Durbonian, hello, Tommy Hoverson. Can I call you Tommy? I feel like we're in a position where I can call you Tommy. Don't call me G. My late mother would never hear the end of it. Never let me hear the end of it. All right, so hopefully that music's not overwhelming. It's not killing you. It's not blowing out your speakers. I tested this earlier today. I'll fade it out. But I can't fade it out while speaking because I'm just not that talented. So I'm just going to press stop, and that's the end of the music. So yeah, there's Tom Harbinson, and I click like that, and the little chat thing goes away. But all right, so the top 5 stories of 2022, I'm going to get to that in one second. But what I wanted to talk about before that, I was on vacation, took off some, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, belated, Happy New Year, also belated. I took off last week to spend time with the family. They repaid me by getting the flu. My wife has influenza. Firstborn son, Jack, influenza. Daughter, Emma, influenza. It has not gotten to me yet. They're all getting better. So it's not, they've just been laid out, like sleeping all day and all night. But somehow it has avoided me. Said this earlier, but I'll say it again. There's also another virus that entered our house, 6 or 7 months ago, a well-known one. And I also apparently did not get that either. So when the Valley Indy folds, I guess in a year, I'm going to donate my blood to science because clearly I need to be studied. You know what I'm saying, Tom Harbinson? Testing, 1, 2, 3. I hear you. So there was a story while I was away. The Connecticut Post did this thing about the Big Y in Ansonia. It's been vacant for a while now, a couple of years. And they have a story saying that there are people at least interested in it. And the reporter interviewed the owner of the plaza, which isn't always an easy thing to do. I found some things interesting about the story, I guess. I don't know let's present some stuff. First a little peek behind the scenes here. This will be kind of cool. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share with you the headline that appeared online, and then the headline that I believe appeared in print. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to share this. Hopefully you don't see like pictures of my bank account or anything like that. I don't trust this stuff at all. But there was 13 hours ago, the Ansonia shopping center still lacks an anchor. 3... I guess 3 years after Big Y left. So that was, I don't know, an original headline, an early headline, a story about how they still don't have a tenant. So that was that. And I'm not making not throwing shade at anybody. I'm just pointing this out. Headlines change. It's perfectly natural. I'm not being a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. But then the headline that they went with when the story published, remember it was lacks anchor. Now it's covered up trying to get me to pay. Interest in former Big Y space picks up, owner says. So slight little change there. By the editors, I think. That's who makes that decision. It's not the reporter or anything like that. So I won't read the whole thing because I think this is behind, well, maybe it's not behind a paywall, so you can go read this. And I encourage people to do that. Is anyone willing to set up at the Big Y location on Main Street? According to economic developer Development Director Sheila O'Malley? The answer is yes. Little known fact, I don't know how to read. I am a reporter, 24 years, no idea how to read. We've been in constant contact with the owner of the Big Y Plaza. Alan came in last week. He's talking to potential tenants. Now, I will say, just as somebody who's now been in the Valley since 2009, covering Ansonia and Derby on a sort of daily basis, or as much as I can, they've been saying this for years, that there's always, I mean, any economic development director, they're not going to say like, hey, you know what? Nobody'll touch this with a 10-foot pole. We don't know what to do, Eddie Martinez. But there's Ansonia saying that they do have somebody on the line, maybe the owner, to go into that Big Y Plaza. A new tenant can't come soon enough, O'Malley said. Yep. But this is interesting, and this was new news. I could be wrong. Maybe Ansonia had said this in the past, but I've done stories. Sheila has brought this up at meetings, public meetings with Ansonia. Usually I think it was Alderman Tony Mamone would ask, is anything going on with Big Y? And she would say like, well, there's bites, things are happening. But she told the Post, and again, maybe this was said before, I just don't remember it being said, part of the reason why the space has remained unoccupied is Big Y holding onto the lease in order to avoid competition, O'Malley said. You bastards. Sorry, I'm just kidding there. That was new news, though. Then in the next graph, Big Y Vice President of Corporate Communications, Claire, I don't know how to say that, Demore Daly, pushed back on O'Malley's statement. And she says, that's not unusual. We tried to negotiate an early release out of our lease several times. The landlord would not let us out, so we honored the terms. So you have Sheila saying, and the plaza owner saying, hey, this lease is ended. We can get some people in there. Of course, begs the question, if you knew this lease was going to be over, Mr. Owner, you would think somebody lying. When I moved out of my house from E Street to Hawthorne Avenue, I didn't do it, I did it over a little bit of time. So I thought that was interesting there, if that makes any sense to people. So somebody exactly, I mean, there's different shades, I think, of the truth going on, right? I will tell you that Big Y, I mean, I don't think they're going to be advertising with the Valley Indy anytime soon. Back when Big Y closed that Ansonia store, I mean, God bless the store in Derby. It's a beautiful location and employs a lot of people. But Big Y was sort of less than truthful, or less than fully truthful, I think, if you look at the public record, when they were moving out of Ansonia. Let me just see if we have any comments or anything like that. No. Walmart is, let's see. Oh, wait, we got some other comments. Hold on. I'll shut up and get some comments in there. Carol Ford wants to bring in a Nordstrom's. Yeah, I would like, personally, if I could wave my magic economic development wand, I would say turn that Ansonia place into a Dave & Buster's to complement the new paintball thing they have going in there. So that was Carol. Carol Ford says Trader Joe's. That would be great and popular, but according to Trader Joe's, we're just not fancy enough. Tom Harbison says Walmart is known for doing that leasehold activity. Yeah. Oh, so the other thing, what I was saying is, let me share this story real fast. So this is a story I had from a couple of years back where the city was also saying, this is from a public meeting. I guess this is from January 15th, 2020. O'Malley told the board of Alderman, Ansonia Plaza owner, working to fill the Big Y space. You can see that. Can she share anything about it? Big Y closed its store, moved Derby. O'Malley said she recently provided the plaza owner with information about residential units that could be built in downtown Ansonia, such as 2 office buildings on Main Street. This is going back. I can tell you that I recently provided the owner with that stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So we had that from, what did I say that was? That was from January 15th, 2020. Now, going back to when Big Y, swell old Big Y, moved out of town, they were like saying they're not moving. It was all over the place. Ansonia city officials said, no, they're gone. We've been told they're gone. And Big Y was like, no, wait, hold on a second. We're not going really anywhere. We don't know. We haven't made that decision. And then lo and behold, they did make the decision. Let me see right here. I'm going to go through the Valley Indy search thing if I can get it to come up. So you can see, this was the story. So in 2019, and it has my name. It might not have been my reporting. That's just our system. My name gets put on everything, I guess, for lawsuit purposes. City says Big Y to leave Ansonia location at some point. And then I remember Big Y made a big stink. 3 days later, Big Y, we have not made a decision about Ansonia store. Oh, but look, 722, Big Y says, see ya, Ansonia, we're moving to Derby. So just for the record, I wanted to point some of that out there because I am in this weird position now where the Valley Indy has been around for 1,000 years. And sometimes you see information traded or things being said where you're like, oh, wait a second. I sat at a meeting 10 years ago and this was said. So a little not fact checking, but just a little illumination. Hopefully the owner gets something in there and the Big Y spot is filled. It's ridiculous that it's been vacant for so long. I used to go there. So, all right. So that's that. Any questions? Anybody got any comments? Can you all hear me still? Can you hear those cool drops? All right, let's talk about the top 5 stories of 2022. Usually we've done this in written form. I did a broadcast earlier. Again, I'm trying to learn a StreamYard, where Jean Falbo-Sosnovich, Valley Indy freelance writer, she lists her 5 picks for the top stories of 2022. What this is actually, I forgot, I can put this on you people. This is not my choice. So if you're angry or you think it's insensitive, you only have yourselves to blame because these 5 stories are the ones that the Valley Indy readers read the most. And should I do it? I know it's really boring if I just sit here and talk and like read from a piece of paper, but it's equally awkward to try to navigate this, but I'm going to give it a try. That's not it. We already talked about that. We already talked about that. That's for later. I'm going around. I have like a million tabs open right now. Okay, so number 5, the 5th most read story of. Let me get Tommy Harbison out of there. Tom, what are you doing? You're taking up my name on the chat the whole time. To stop being a hog. But number 5, 5th most read story of 2022. And yes, I'm yelling because I'm excited. Hopes I say this name correctly. Zapardi's a Pizza opens in Ansonia. There's a beautiful photo that had to be contributed to us because I'm terrible photographer. I love Jean, but she's no photographer either. But we had a new pizzeria open there in Ansonia at 58 Beaver Street. I can tell you that readers love restaurant stories in the lower Naugatuck Valley. They do really well. Let me know if it's choppy when I share this, because what I noticed with StreamYard as opposed to Zoom, where when I share my screen, my audio gets choppy and it gets out of sync too. So let me know if that's happening if you could. And please feel free to comment, call me an idiot, whatever you want in the comments. I have no way to censor you. Thomas Harbison says top story has to be changed coming to downtown Derby. Now, Tom, again, not my opinion here. This is clicks. This is pure clicks. It's our lizard brain. That's what's made this list, whatever we clicked on the most. Truth be told, what I did take out, like two stories that made the top 10 was like a list of fireworks displays that I created and like winter things to do or holiday time things to do. So I sort of bought out because those were just basic guides, but those were also very popular. Now, Thomas Harbison taking a dip into my personal life, photography lesson from I would. She's upstairs with the flu. Another thing, my daughter, right, on Christmas morning, this has nothing to do with anything, but whatever. I'm in charge. It's my microphone. I felt really nauseous on Christmas morning. I don't know what the deal was. My daughter, 4th grade, Emma, has a terrible phobia of vomit, right? Sorry, I said it. We all know what it is. And so they were opening presents, and I was sort of standing in our archway thinking, I don't know which way this is going to go. I don't know what was going on. I don't know what I ate. I didn't, it's not like I drank 19 beers the night before or something like that. It was bizarre. And she came over, she hugged me and all that. And then I told her later in the day, hey, Emma, I felt really nauseous. And she was like, she had a full on meltdown, so, cause she's a real phobia of that, even though nothing happened. Fast forward a week, she's got the flu up there. I'm getting coughed all, nobody cares then. Not a big deal then, Emma. I'll edit this out in post. Don't worry about it. So that was our 5th most big story, our most read story. What does it say? So where are people getting their real news from? Well, Carol, what do you define as real news? Where do you get your news? Because that doesn't make any sense to me. Where are people getting their real news from? I don't know. TikTok? Dances? Charlie D'Amelio? It doesn't mean, just because it's the most read, it doesn't make it not news. Whenever somebody says this is not news, I guarantee you it's always news. Let's see. Aha, lizard clicks, catalytic converter thefts. No, that didn't really go there. What does this say? Hello, this thing is good, but the CC is frozen. What's the CC? Oh, closed caption? Oh, I don't know. I'm surprised that's even on. I apologize. Carol Ford says not restaurant. Economic development in places like Ansonia and Derby when a new restaurant opens up. I would say that's absolutely news that affects a lot of people, affects our taxes, hopefully brings them down. I would say restaurants opening, not Shelton, but we don't cover Shelton anymore. They got money. They got their own newspaper. They're doing fine. But if you're talking Ansonia and Derby, restaurants opening are absolutely news. And I can back that up by people read it. FYI, your right hand behind. Oh, I don't care about that, Tom. That's okay. It's all right. Like, this is not a real green screen. I'll stop being so animated. All right, Carol, you got me angry now. Editor Carol in the chat. All right, so the fourth most read news story of the year. I'll leave the news judgment to others. Click here. Click here. This was a story, body found in Derby apartment identified as Stephen Hoffenberg, former business associate of Jeffrey Epstein. So, welcome to local news. Number 5 most read was a story about a restaurant opening. The number 4 most read was a story in the city of Derby that had ties to an international story and one of the most hotly contested, quote unquote, conspiracy theories in the history of the modern internet. Going to stop sharing there. So that was number 4. I reported on that one. That was a... Oh, it's okay, Carol. I'm not really mad. I'm just, that was big, a lot more involved. Yeah, but news differ. I mean, the definition of news is different from every person to person. So that was 4. Let's see, what's number 3 here? Let me make sure I bring up the right one here. Share my screen. Number 3. Hey, this is a story I wrote too. Waterbury area dealers had ties to Mexican drug cartel. Document alleges cartel. I'm sorry, not gartel. That was sort of a weird one. A 56-year-old Ansonia resident was one of 14 people arrested last month on federal drug charges in connection to an investigation into the distribution of heroin, cocaine, fentanyl, and Oxycontin in the region. That was the first time I've ever read a warrant where the investigation was so in-depth, they publicly named that this had connections to a drug cartel. Police allege that this other person got cocaine, heroin, and possibly fentanyl from a supplier in Mexico, and that sources told cops that this person owed a debt to the Mexican cartel of more than $1 million. So I don't think anybody else really reported that story. It was a press release from the government, but all right, humble brag. I took the time to actually go in and look at all the court documents. So that was number 4. Show you this real fast. I'm 48, getting really old, ladies and gentlemen. And this is could be my 3rd pair of glasses. If you can see, these glasses are no good. If you can, that means they don't work. Okay. Carol says, LOL. Thank you for keeping me company, Carol. I appreciate that. All right, so what are we up to? The number 3, number 2. Number 3 was the Waterbury drug dealer. Number 2, and this is, you know what, I'm going to skip over this one because it doesn't need to be brought up again, but there was a person missing in one of our towns, and the person's body was found, and I believe police said at the time it was a self-inflicted wound. So I'm not going to share that. It's one of the reasons I usually hesitate from doing these end-of-the-year lists, because I remember one year it was just the ultimate tragedies make up the top read stories, and what's the point of starting off or ending a year like that? All right, and number 1, I'll go over real quickly as well. The number 1 most read story of the year for the Valley Indy was Ron Colmo, the former head of the DPW in Derby, was accused of embezzlement. That court case is still pending in Superior Court in Milford. I haven't had a chance to follow up at all. It's one thing about but it was the most read, and I'm talking about 30,000 views for that thing. It is hard to cover court with one person. I miss covering court is my favorite thing to do. Civil court, the criminal court, but it's like going to the DMV. So you don't see as many court stories as you used to when we had 3 full-timers. Again, people should support the Valley Indy in May during the Great Give, not to say again. Or hey, if you want to advertise, we're the only game in town doing stuff like this, huh? What other local reporter is going on the air, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook Live, making an idiot of themselves while their entire family is upstairs for you, interact with you, ladies and gentlemen. Because local journalism, man, it's the best there is. The other thing I was looking at, I'm trying to get into YouTube more because Facebook is showing less and less of these videos to people. Facebook Watch was a big thing. Once upon a time at the Valley Indy, we would put something on Facebook and we were averaging anywhere from 800 to 1,000 views per video. If you look now, look at the last live video I did, you're talking maybe 12 viewers. I don't think that's because I'm that bad. I support you. How? I support you. How? Carol, I'm not sure how to answer that, but thank you for your support. Myself, Tom Harbison, when a potentially nation-worthy story comes to you where local boots on ground provides reporting, does a nationwide or larger news organization give you a little payback for the fee? No, absolutely not. They don't even give credit half the time. How does local journalism get respect? I don't care. I'm not here for respect or contributions for your local contribution to news reporting that national level news would miss. They don't. I mean, how can I support you money-wise? Oh, okay. In May, Carol, thank you for asking. Is the one time a year during the Great Give, usually in early May, where we try to raise about $15,000 over the course of 36 hours. So that's the time to give. But back to Tom's question. I mean, and all right, this is totally inside baseball stuff, but I started reporting in 1998. And at the time, not police, TV and radio would wholesale lift stories from the local newspaper, ProPublica. Yeah, Carol, we are a nonprofit, and we do a thing once a year. We do, because I'm the only person here, we don't have a fundraising arm, but come the Great Give, that's when we really do a big push. We don't do anything but raise money for 36 hours, and that's when you can give as much as you can. So, okay, but TV and radio have gotten better. They usually contribute now. Starting at the Valley Indy, sometimes I would say, well, I want valleyindy.org. Don't credit Valley Independent Sentinel. I'm a website. That doesn't help me. I want my exact URL attributed. And eventually they started doing that. So it's a lot better. Carol says, okay, yeah. Now I'm going to start coughing. Hold on. I probably should have had some water with me. All right, so I am trying to, since Facebook has limited videos a lot. Thank you, Carol. I agree with you as well. Also, please check out valleyindy.org. There is an investigation section for harder news. I was joking earlier about what's news and what isn't. I totally get it. But, I mean, the stories I'm most proud of are some of the investigations that happened this year and just basic nuts and bolts. Sorry, I spit. Ham and egg in it coverage of local government, which is a thing that's going away because it's much easier to just argue about stuff on the national level and co-opt those national arguments on the local level, and I would get a lot more clicks. Or if I just turned on a police scanner and just sat here, I could turn on a police scanner right now. There's one behind me, and I'll just scream out every call, and my page views would go through the roof, but I don't know. It's not really the mission here, right? Now I sound like an egotistical jerk. But get that off there. All right, so thank you. These comments are working well. It's very difficult to have a train of thought, look at a tab I need to share, and read comments and react to them. So God bless broadcasters. I think I'm definitely coming down with something. So I was looking around. So Facebook limits, right? So I'm trying to go to YouTube a little more. In 2023, one of the things I want to do is broadcast exclusively from YouTube more because it reaches more people and there is a potential to monetize if I could hit 1,000 followers and then hit the hours watched. I think it's something like 4,000. I did it with videos a lot. So nice that you can go backwards to select which comment. Yeah, that's just StreamYard. It's StreamYard. I'm doing StreamYard instead of Zoom. I think the audio quality is better on Zoom and it's more stable, but StreamYard is, if you watch any kid on YouTube, they're all using StreamYard. I've learned to use StreamYard and a little bit of the monetization thing, because I do a terrible weekend podcast about movies, TV, and Stuttering John, if you can believe it. And that one has about 600 followers, all within the last 3 months. And we blew by the hours watched. The Valley Indy is the opposite. We have just about the number of subscribers needed, but even though we've been around since 2009, we don't have that hours watched. Let's see what else is going on. June is guessing biggest stories in Seymour. The big whoops in the store on Meyer, Ribot, and resignation. Those are all. The one that Gene Falbo had named in Seymour was the one about Seymour being a victim of a cyber scam. Much more breaking news style station. Is that going on? Would look into Restream in case you need an alternative. That's what we use for Happy New Year. Hey, Jason. Yeah, I've used Restream a little bit. They're a little pricey. But yeah, thanks for that. But when you go and look around YouTube, there is not a lot of Valley content that I see on YouTube. I guess like as a whole, none of us are really on YouTube, or we're not creating the titles of our videos in a way that they get anything on YouTube. And my nose is starting to run because the influenza is all throughout my house. I don't have anything to, I don't have a tissue down here. This is going to be disgusting. Let me see if I can share some stuff that I found on YouTube. This is 2001 fire. Latex foam fire from 2001. I think I've shared this before in a previous episode of this, but here we go. This is, of course, where Target is today. Little trip down memory lane. I didn't live up in the valley at this time, so I can't give you any info. It's, of course, West Main Street, right at the train station. West Main Street parking lot. Vem's on the right. There's especially, I couldn't find a lot of Ansonia related videos. I mean, that was one I just wanted to share quickly. There's a lot of Flood of 55 out there. Real quick, and again, I'm just getting the hang of this. This is really just to do some practice, and also, wait, hold on a second. I got the Office of the First Selectwoman of Board of Selectmen and Board of Ed live stream their meetings on YouTube. I am aware of that. I think I mentioned that in my earlier broadcast today. What's going on? Is the water restored up there? Hope everything's okay. That looked like a crazy scene there. FYI, on YouTube, hours watched for monetization, it's hours watched over the prior rolling 12-month period. Yeah, which is amazing. My cruddy pod hit that by talking about Stuttering John and Shuley from the Howard Stern Show. Tommy Finn, Valendy, thanks for all you do. Have a happy new year. Oh, thank you very much, Tommy. You too. So, again, I'm just not talking about municipal meetings here. I'm talking about you can go and find something on YouTube that's a trip down memory lane or something from 100 years ago. Not 100 years ago, but you know what I mean. And there's a surprisingly small amount. If you search Seymour, Connecticut, or Seymour CT, you get, the government is actually the first thing that comes up for Seymour, but and the Flood of 55. I'm just commenting that there isn't as much as one might think. You're right. There's not a lot of Valley folks on YouTube, hardly on TikTok either. There is some Oxford stuff on TikTok about businesses and few. Yeah, one thing that's not to pick on realtors, but if you search like Derby, Connecticut, the first thing you get is somebody trying to sell you a house. You know, yes, water is back on. Yeah, that's good news That was when a water main goes down, a big one like that on a main road, that can be a mess. All right, so where was I? What do I have? I have a Seymour one here. You want to see some Seymour flood of 55 stuff? I probably shouldn't tap into the microphone like that, but there's no sound with this. Let me know if it's choppy. I don't know if it's the video or StreamYard, but that is just terrifying. I had never seen this video before tonight of entire buildings getting washed away there up in Seymour. I know there's the CPTV did a great documentary. Jody and I and Tony Spinelli had acquired from the Jansen brothers a audio broadcast, an audio documentary on the situation that is on YouTube. That's available as well. But this video is particularly, I think this is the most, in terms of local, out of 55 video. And I'm sure everyone watching this has seen more than me, but this is the most devastating that I've seen. But again, I'm sure a lot of you have very distinct, you had family members who were there, and I'm sure you've heard the stories. Incredible stuff right there. Do you want to see the most viewed video for the Valley Indy ever? See if I can do this without. And again, I want to know if my audio is choppy when I do this. I'm going to share a Chrome tab. Remember when I think she was running for Senate at the time. And so I got a chance to interview her in Ansonia. This is on Main Street. Like, I think it was part of the barbecue place whose name escapes me at the moment. Anyway, I was an old school wrestling fan. You watching those Vice documentaries on the territories and the dark side of the ring. Like once Bob Backlund was no longer the WWF champion, I stopped watching. But here we go. And I got a chance to interview Linda McMahon, and professional journalist that I am. Comes out. And there's one last question. I promise this is kind of a joke question just for my own. She did not like to talk to the press. There was that story in the Washington Post. It was a profile of you a couple of weeks back. Did you ever think you'd see the day where George the Animal Steel would be quoted in the Washington Post?
Well, he's a very interesting man. He's a history teacher. He was a high school coach. And so because I've known I know him from that life as well, and his wife and their kids, and I've seen them touring the country. It was really refreshing for me to see that they had reached out to him. He's a really good guy.
Comes out. Right. Okay, so that was that. One thing, this is choppy, huh? I'm seeing that it's choppy. What I did earlier today, I went and I tried to, audio's fine when the video plays. Thank you very much. Thank you for pointing that out. I really appreciate that help. But that video should be smooth. I went and emptied some of the things that were eating up my memory, emptied as much as I could. A little confused as to why that's still happening. A week ago, I was using StreamYard daily, and I wasn't having those issues. So I don't know what's going on. Mark Zuckerberg. Interesting to see video from 55 or CPTV story, but where will the content to report upon 30 or 50 years from now? Journalism important. I'm not going to get a argument from me out of that. Mr. Harbinson. Okay, so here's a video. I mean, hey, look, this could be, for all I know, get the kids out of the room. I don't think this is going to be inappropriate, but I just came across before I hit live, a old video from Derby, from a business in Ansonia. I'm sorry, from a business in Derby that I want to share with people. I love these old commercials, right? Sharing the audio. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's read about where it is. This is Peter's Fine Furniture Gallery, downtown Derby, 1985. It was at 45 Minerva Street. If anybody remembers, feel free to shoot a comment up there. Guess I should hit play, huh?
Peter's Fine Furniture Gallery of downtown Derby announces a going out of business sale after many years. Save up to 70% on brand name furniture. 3 full floors jam-packed and all must be liquidated at once. This Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
All items not exactly as shown.
Hurry and save up to 70% at this fantastic going out of business sale at Peter's Furniture Galleries, downtown Derby. Call for directions 735-0826. 45 minutes.
Don't call that number.
Downtown Derby.
Tom Harbinson. Nobody likes a prankster. All right, so I thought that was pretty cool. It's going on to the storm of the century. Sorry about that. I forgot to hit whatever. Tom says, choppy video might be bandwidth as you're streaming in and out of volume of. Yeah, I have, I mean, that's the other, I did not try to reset my router, but I have a heavy duty router that I've been using for a while and should be able to handle that unless those bastards at Xfinity are lying to me, which isn't out of the question. So the last thing I wanted to share, and then I'll call it a night, and I want to thank everybody for helping me out. And now I know like what things I have to address. Means I'll be doing a lot of YouTube searching for the answers. But I've shared this a million times before. It's a great old commercial. And give me 1 second to bring it up. Do the present, do the share screen, do the Chrome tab. I have to speak this all out loud because I am not smart. Working Chevrolet, baby.
It's another quiet, tranquil day in Derby.
Oh no, not Chainsaw Chuck again. This Snow Sticker's gotta go! There's still room to negotiate! These prices are too high!
I don't think it's the prices that are too high.
I'll cut him up like the steak I had for lunch!
He's out to lunch permanently.
I've calmed down now. I'll cut till we negotiate the right price.
Dworkin Chevrolet, Seymour Avenue, Derby.
I love it. I love that commercial. I've seen it a million times. It never gets old. Do you guys want to watch? Do you guys want to watch Barstool Sports when he went to Roseland? Is that there might be cursing in that, but I can play it real fast if people are interested. Did anybody see that crazy Alex Stein invade Barstool? It's like a meeting of the most horrible people in the world. But all right, so here is Dave Portnoy, who is a media figure online. He does this pizza thing that dudes really love. And here he is at Roseland. I mean, it was cool that it was at Roseland. Not going to play the whole thing because it's choppy and it's...
Don't say no like I'm greasy or anything, but I'm not going to charge you. It's like promo. All right. Thank you. I got to get a pic before you leave. All right, absolutely. All right, Frankie. Big time pizza review. Roseland Pizza, 1935, Derby. A lot of people have recommended this place. We drove pretty far out of our way to give it a bid here. Feels heavy. You also had a little back and forth. They're almost going to re-pizza, which people are doing because, like, oh, we want to make sure the head guy, the main guy, we cook it perfectly. He's like, you know what? Fuck it. I trust my guys. What you get,
excuse
what you
me.
get. So here we go. Roseland Pizza, one bite every night.
No class, Dave. No class.
Very thin. Very thin style.
He ends up
Good
liking
crisp.
it.
Smells good. Is that the sauce on this? I don't know if that was this sauce or somebody else's sauce. One bite, everybody knows the rules.
Anyway, that's that. That was Dave Portnoy having a slice of pizza at Roseland. He did like it, but I don't want to hear him. What is this? That's, oh boy, it's from the Crazy Eddie days of adverts. Yeah, I miss those days. I never knew that Crazy Eddie was just like regional. And then the real Crazy Eddie was, I believe, indicted on federal embezzlement charges, believe it or not. Tom Carvel, Crazy Eddie, those are the days. All right, so the Valley Indy's back 100% tomorrow. Got some stories coming this week. Stay tuned. Happy New Year. Thanks again for watching. Going to end the broadcast now.